Hi Greedy 3Ders. Today's going to be a little bit of a tutorial again. I'm going to show you how I made this, the Hawkeye model. Now this is a wicked model that I've just cut down using Mesh Mixer, but I'm going to show you how I made his face, how I painted his eyes, etc. So I hope you enjoy that. I've done a couple of busts. I did old Scarlett Johansson behind me as well, but this is more of a male bust and it's a little bit different, and we'll talk about that. But if you do like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you need to buy anything from the materials that you see me use, they're all in the description, and you can also support the channel because I have got an Amazon affiliate link. So if you like Hawkeye and you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe. If you've watched one of my previous videos, you know how I do flesh, and I use it in a 3-tier approach using the colour triad from the armypainter mega set, starting off with the nomad flesh, the darkest of the 3 colours. And as I always do, I'm going to start from the top using the image of light, using the illusion of light on here, starting at the top going down, trying to keep the underside of his chin and his nose and the under of his eyes nice and dark. Now this is a wicked model, and it's the Hawkeye model. It's the actual, not the bust, it's the main model itself. But what I've done is I've cut the body down just to show you how I paint the face really. So I'm not going to do the whole bust, I'm just going to concentrate really on the face, as I'm sure a few of you have got this model, and perhaps you're interested to know just how to do the face best. So we've put that first layer on, that nomad flesh, and we're going to move to the second cover, which is barbarian flesh. And again, this is a little bit lighter than the nomad, just a little bit, but it links in beautifully. So again, from the top down, I'm going to be spraying it in a downward motion. Now, if you like any of the products that you see on here, you can buy them from the website. I do have an Amazon affiliate link, which is in the description. And if you buy them from me, it's one way of supporting the channel, because a little bit will come back to the channel, but it won't cost you guys a penny. Onto Wildling Flesh, which is the lightest tone, and I'm going to pop that on. I apologise in advance for the shimmering in the background. It's just the light on my paint station just giving me a little bit of grief. It doesn't do it for long, but it's doing it now, so my apologies. With this paint, obviously we're just going to concentrate on the areas that would catch the light. I don't want to make him look like he's got anemia, so working from the top down and the out of the nose and the cheeks and the I'll give his neck a little bit as well, but I don't want to destroy all the work I've done before. Moving on now finally to the wash that gives it some life, and it's some alien purple, one tiny drop of alien purple and a fair bit of water to turn it into nothing more than a wash, and you coat the whole head with it. And once that's coated, I left this 24 hours to dry. And I've moved across now to the paintbrush stage. I'm going to use some leather brown, and I'm going to use an old toothbrush to add some more effect to his face. Now, I've seen this technique done a few times. This is the first time I've used it in anger, and it's literally a case of put some brown paint on your brush, water it down ever so slightly, and that's really important to make it move off the brush easier. I didn't do that for a while when I first tried it, and it just wouldn't move for me. I've watered it down, and you flick it onto the face. Now I'm doing the same again with a pink colour. It's really important you seal your model when you've got your face paints on before you do this, because any problems you can't really go back and seal it with just some matte lacquer. And once I've got that on, if there's any bits that I wanted to get off, just a damp sponge will rub it off. But I'm really pleased with how the little dotted effect all over his face actually looks. I'm not sure if you'll pick it up in the video here, but see if you can spot it. It's more of a close-up thing, and it looks incredible. Just keep going with it, keep adding until you are happy. All I've added is brown, a very light beigey leather brown, and some pink, and I'm happy with that. I'm now going to do the eyes, and I'm going to mix some white and I'm going to mix some Kraken blue together to get like a really pale white, and I'm going to put that on the whites of his eyes. Now, your eyes aren't white, are they? If you look at your eyes in a mirror, they're not white. They've got like a hue of, it's almost like a grey blue, and that's the colour that I want to go for here. So I'm coating the whites of the eyes with those colours, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats of that, as you'll see as we move through the video, but we don't want to do it just plain white. Now I'm going to do the lips, and I'm mixing 3 colours for the lips: a red, a white and a brown, and I'm going to use the colour that I've created to just go over the lips. Now this might look a little bit too pink. Don't worry, the whole point in doing the lips this way is to put a coating on first and then work down in the shade of colour. So this does look a bit pink, but it's absolutely fine. Those are the 3 colours I've used. Just do a couple of experiments with the quantities till you find something that you like and get it on there. Now, it looks like he's going out for the weekend here, and I don't want that to stay like that, so I am going to downplay the lips a little bit, but that's a lovely base colour to get on there. And what I'm going to do to lower the tone a little bit, I'm going to take the initial colour and I'm going to mix it with some more brown until it darkens. And once I've got that darker brown colour, I'm just going to start to go over the lip on the sort of bottom of the lip and the top of the lip, just to make those a little bit darker. And then using that darker browny colour, I'm going to pull down vertical lines just to give that vertical effect on the lips. And it's starting to take some form now. I've mixed a lighter colour, an even lighter colour now, using those 3 colours again, and I'm going to just make some like highlight effects on the top of his lips. It's more like a whitey pink colour for that. And there we go, and the lips are pretty much done. And now that I'm happy with how they're looking, and we'll give them a gloss varnish later, I'm going to give the eyes a second coat, exactly the same colour as we gave them before, just to build it. You know what it's like when you're painting a white, it just looks patchy and horrible. So give it another coat, but keep it as that pale grey blue kind of colour. There we go, and those are the whites of his eyes pretty much done. What I'm going to do now is just give it the once over, have a quick look at it. Am I happy with it? Am I happy with the skin tone? Am I happy with the eyes? Am I happy with the lips? And so far, yeah, I'm happy with everything that I can see here. So now I'm going to go back to the eyes, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the irises on. Now if you look at the model itself, the old Hawkeye is looking right, because on the full-size model he's pulling back on his bow. So I am going to paint the eyes looking to the right. There is a mark in there that Wicked has put in that you can follow, but just make sure that when you think about the eyes looking to the right, you've got to make sure you see the curve of the eye on one side, and that's about it. But you've also got to think about the inner part of the eye. When you look to the left or to the right as far as you can go, some of the whites of the eye will pull through, and you'll see a lot more of the pink where the kind of structure of the eye starts to be revealed that isn't normal. So just be aware of that, and we'll add some pink in, so you'll see that in a bit. But use that black, try to mirror exactly the positions in both of your black irises, and take your time, add bits as you go on. You can easily add more, but it's a little bit more difficult to take it away. And just think about the curvature of the eye, just think about the direction he's looking, think about how much of the black of the eye will be shown, and as I say, take your time and practice. This doesn't come overnight, learning how to do eyes. This is years of practice and lots of mistakes. So more practice makes perfect. Now, once your black of your eye is on, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the pink colour that I used for the inner part of his lip, and I'm just going to use that to dab it into the corners of his eyes. So you will see that the edges of his eyes will be now pink, and that's exactly what we want. We'll have a closer look in a bit, but I'm also going to take that pink and I'm going to do the bottom of his eyes, but I'll show you that in a little while. Now, just to add some colour to his irises, I'm going to take a nice bright blue, I think it was the Kraken blue actually, and I'm going to paint it into the black part of his eye, just leaving a really thin outer layer of black. Again, do it slowly, add it carefully. You can always add more, but you can't really take it away. So just concentrate on where it's going, a little black edge to the black part of the iris, and fill the rest of the inner part of the eye in blue. And there we go, that's what it looks like at the moment, coming together nicely. Now there's that pink that I spoke about earlier that I've done the inner part of the eye with, and I'm just going to draw a line straight along the bottom lid. In female characters this can be black. It's also you can do a little bit of black and a bit of pink, but in a male character this does look better pink. So just drag it across the inner part of the bottom eyelid. Try not to get it on the whites of your eyes. Do it with both of the eyes right the way across the whole length. Using a sort of contrast to the above that would be darker by default, take the same thin brush, use a black colour this time and paint the inside of the upper eyelid, giving it a coat again from the inner to the outer eye, and doing the same of course on both eyes, and that is the natural look of an eye. I'm now going to add some colour into the eyes. So I've mixed the original blue with some white to make it a real pale blue, a really fine brush with just a hint of paint on it, and I'm going to pull lines from the pupil away from the eye just to make the illusion of lines and to change the colour depth of the eye as it moves away from the pupil, and that's what a normal eye will look like. Now this is a fiddly job, it takes some time, but the after effects look amazing. And let's just have a quick look at what it's looking like now. You can see the different shades in the eyes, and that's exactly what we're asking for. You can also see the pink on the bottom and the pink on the inner eye. Just using now some flesh wash from the Army Painter, I'm going to use this to add some depth and shadow. The first place I'm going to darken is between the lips where the natural shadow would be. I'm then going to move to his eyes, and I'm going to look at all the lines and the crinkles and the creases of his face, and I'm going to use this wash to exannuate all those lines. Now if you put a bit too much on, don't worry, just get a sponge, a little damp sponge, and just sponge it off. I don't want to try to create a physical line, I just want to add some shading in. So a little bit on your brush, and do it little and often, but the flesh washes are one of the washes from the Army Painter, and they really are fantastic. So keep going through this model now. The face of Hawkeye has a few wrinkles on it. Sorry, Jeremy Renner, but it does. So you're going to need to take your time with this bit and pop it on. It's well worth doing, and this is another reason why we sealed the skin before we started, so you can use that damp sponge to wipe any excess off. Once you're happy that the flesh wash is everywhere that it needs to be and it's all over there, and you're happy with the final product, we can move on to the next stage. Now the next stage is going to be his eyebrows. So what I'm doing for his eyebrows is I'm using Bugbear Brown, a nice dark brown from the Army Painter, a really thin brush, and I'm going to take my time going through doing the eyebrows in little line strokes. I'm not dolloping it on. He's not wearing a caterpillar. These are little lines that I'm going to put on, and I'm going to put loads and loads on going in different directions, and I'm also going to use a black as well, so I'm not just using the brown, and that will add to the thickness but also add to the contrast and effect. So thin brush, brown and black, different directions in thin lines to do the eyebrows. And again, Wicked has put them onto the model so you can follow them really easy. And there we go, his eyebrows are on. Next, I'm moving on to the hair, and I'm going to use that Bugbear Brown again, a really thin brush, and I'm going to go around all the edging first. And once I'm happy that all that edging is in and I've not gone over the skin tone, but don't forget, you've sealed it, so if you need to wipe it off, you can relatively easily. I'm going to take a nice big brush and I'm going to get it on there in a real thick coated way, and that's wonderful. And that's his hair pretty much done. I'm not going to concentrate too much on the hair, although what I am going to do now is just give it a little bit of a dry brush. I'm going to use the Bugbear Brown mixed with a bit of skin tone on a nice big dry brush excuse me, and I'm going to get it on there, dry brush it on, just to give his hair a little bit of a different context and a different colour. And once the hair's on there, Hawkeye is done really. That's the big chunk of the work done. The hard work's done now anyway. Now use some gloss varnish, and I'm using Vallejo gloss varnish. Make sure them eyes are dry, make sure your brush is clean, and dollop some of that varnish in. Now you will see it makes such a difference. It's an awesome effect to add varnish to eyes, but it's not just the eyes we're going to add the varnish to, it's also going to be onto his lips. So a nice thick coat. Don't be afraid of this stuff, but make sure you just get it in the places that you want to glisten, because if it goes anywhere else it's going to look an absolute mess. Now I hope you've enjoyed this today. Please don't forget to subscribe, and here is Hawkeye.